welcome to the mix. And on the mix today we have Lady V. Now Lady V is talking about self-value. Yes, and we know that we have to value ourselves in order for people to value us. The way we look at ourselves, well, people might look at us as that as well. But it's not all about other people. We have to value ourselves. We have to look into ourselves and first love us before we can love anybody else. And in this topic, she will say just that, because you have to love you before extending your love to someone else. And so Lady V speaks about self-value. So go ahead and catch the topic. As you know, she always discusses the greatest topics ever. So go catch the video and listen, learn something from this. And remember, God loves you. Have a wonderful day.
On oneself. So I'm just doing all things in one go. I'm working on myself. I'm building a new relationship. I'm building new business and connection and network. I really prayed to God for a few weeks and months, a little time back, and I asked God to remove everything from my life that was not of Him. Every person that was not sent by Him. I asked God to remove things and persons from my life that was not assigned by Him. And I watched God remove some people that I love with every fiber of my being, from the crown of my head to the sole of my feet. And when I watched God started to remove people that I love with all of me, I couldn't understand it. I couldn't get it. And I was saying, God, I ask you to remove the people that was not sent by you. I felt this and that person was sent by you. Why are you removing Laurel? Why are you removing Patricia, Andrea, Nashon, Nathan? Where you going with them? These are my people. I watched God started removing my bloodline. Close acquaintance, associates, affiliates, so-called friends. And I couldn't understand what was going on. Because all I asked God to do was to remove any demonic attachments and assignments that was not sent by Him. And God just started to remove some people. I threw my hands up on my head. And I said, God, so when you remove X, then that person was not sent by you. God, when you remove Y, was never one of your people that? God, when you remove Z was you. So what's going on? Why are you removing the people that I thought and felt and embraced because I felt they were sent by you? God, where you going with the people? Little did I know, I was embracing a whole lot of people that God didn't send my way. I was embracing persons that was attached, that was sowed, that was planted to derail, to abort, and I couldn't understand. Now, you see the topic tonight, right? Self-value is the best value. I don't think I'd value myself enough in those moments. So I validate other persons in the moment, not realizing. I didn't realize that God had anointed, elected and selected, anointed and appointed me for such a time as this. So I was still questioning my purpose, my calling, and why I was here. So I latched on to anything and anyone that seemed like. And then when I prayed, I went into a novena. And if you don't know what is a novena, let me explain that to you. A novena is when you do a 9 days prayer and fasting. Remember, I promised you I'd change halfway. A novena is a prayer and fasting that goes for 9 days. And I entered into my novena. And I beseeched God to remove everything that was not of Him from my life. I came onto this very platform and I said it. I'm asking God to remove everything and everyone that was not meant for my life, my journey. Anything that was not of Him. Any assignment and attachment from a different place and a different force.
Here you'll find Lady V talking about, different stuff. She'll be talking about that, she prayed to God, asked Him that any attachment that is not of Him, then she's asking for that to be removed. And that's when you start seeing people falling out of your life. So go ahead and continue watching. And I hope you're learning something from this as she speaks self-value.
To remove it. I don't care who the person is or was. Whether it was my partner, whether it was my children, whether it was my mother, whether it was my siblings, whether it was my associates, my affiliates, my acquaintance, my friends, my nieces, nephews, anybody. Just remove them. I wanted God to remove everything that He didn't want for me. And when I watched God started to do the scrambling, I was really annoyed. People, can I tell you, I was so dismayed. I was annoyed, very, very annoyed. I was lost. I was in bewilderment. I was confused. You understand me, Nashawn? And I couldn't understand what God was doing. At one point in time, I became very, very, very sad. I was wounded. Right, Chit Chat? You're still here? Avis. And I couldn't understand. Because I felt some persons that had entered my life was sent by God. Chanel. And when I saw after the 9-day novena and praying and seeking God with other intercessors and asking God to remove all demonic forces, influence, principalities, and power people from around my life, I saw the persons who God started to remove. And it did make sense to me because I was still being Valine. I was still being Lady V, the nice, warm, and bubbly, all-embracing character woman, not realizing that this was not God's plan and design for my life. So when God started to removing and enemies started to rear ugly heads to show me they were enemies, I couldn't understand it. And I was in awe, I was shocked, I was in disbelief, I felt betrayed, I felt hurt, I felt damaged, and I started saying to God, what are you doing? I asked you to remove my enemies. But you seemed like you didn't hear me. You started removing my friends. God, I asked you to remove my enemies. And you started to remove people that I love. God, I ask you to remove my enemies. And you started removing persons that I trusted. I have something to say, but I'm not going to say. I ask you to remove my enemies. And you started removing persons that I would have taken a bullet for. God, I ask you to remove those that was not assigned to me by you. Attachment and assignment that didn't came from God. And you started removing some of the people that I was sure you sent my way. So I don't understand. I don't understand. Maybe my spirit of discernment was too low. Maybe I gravitated for the wrong cause and the wrong reasons. But when I saw you started removing some persons that I personally would have taken a bullet for because I love them with every fiber of my being, I couldn't understand. I could not. Don't send me no foolishness, girl. You're fighting the wrong war. Don't send me no stupid WhatsApp message. Okay? So, sorry guys, you may not understand what I just said. Somebody just send me some stupidness, but they're doing some foolishness. And I couldn't understand. And you know what? I had to pray some more. I remember I went to dinner with my partner and I couldn't even have my meal. I was so troubled. I was so concerned and I was so worried. And I was just feeling this sense of, oh my God, total betrayal by several quarters, camps, and people. Total letdown. I was judged. I was dragged. I was blamed. I was named. And I was shamed. By who? The enemies? Just the people that I showed nothing but absolute love from the depth of my soul, from my bowels. And I said, God, where are you in all this? And I recall not speaking to any human being about what I was going through. So whilst I was travailing, if you call it that, going through, I remember receiving a call from one of the intercessor. And the lady said to me, fret not and don't be afraid. God is separating you for a reason. The reason you will not understand, and he's not a social media person, the intercessor don't do social media, no forms of social media. And she said, God is setting you aside and he's gonna set you up in a big way. But where you were, he could not have done that for you. You asked God to intervene in your affairs, and when he did, you started questioning him. Don't question God when you would have prayed. If you pray to God, you have to learn to accept the answers to your prayer. You ask him to remove things and persons, and now that he's doing that, you are questioning his authority to do so. I never had a word with the woman at the time. I say, what is this? I call my sister. By now I think all of you know that my sister is a pastor. So I called my sister and I kind of explained it to her. And she said to me, don't preach to the choir. I know what you're saying. Something my sister said, which I will not divulge here, but it made me know I am under construction. I am under construction. God is doing a new thing in my life. He's going to move a lot of persons, people that I hold dearly in my heart, people that I embrace with every fiber of my being. But they are not the ones that I will go to the next level with. So he's making sure that he's doing everything to scramble some connections, some network, some involvement, some acquaintance, some associates, even what you call friendships. And you know what? I'm truly grateful to God tonight for what he's been doing. To God, why some people only come to pass in your life, and it just prayed at the night about the current situation. See? Sunshine Jammy. And let me tell you something, guys. I'm so grateful to God that he did show up. He didn't show up in private. He didn't show up behind any screen or any door. He showed up in public. So even if I would have want to not face a truth, because the way he showed up, I had to face the truth, because he made sure that I couldn't pretend not to see. He did it in public for me to see. He did this in public for my benefit. He did this in public to tell me, separate yourself from among them and come over here and stand by yourself. Let me deal with you by yourself till you're ready to associate and affiliate. And I'm truly grateful. Now, you may wonder, she says self value is the best value. How she talk about that? Let me tell you, when you value yourself, you will stand against all odds comfortably by yourself. When you know self-value, you won't question God, because you would have known the value that God would have placed on you. And when you pray, you would have known that God would answer you in a particular way. If you value yourself, you're going to value your prayer. And you're going to know that God will answer you according to your desires. You just have to pray from a broken and a contrite heart. And if you're doing that, God will answer all your prayers. Now, I know there are so many of us out here.
Thank you for watching, and as always, live good, love God, and be happy. Have a wonderful day.